Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Therapy by Lisa. I apologize, it's been a little bit since my last video. As I said in one of the videos before, I've been busy building the Rejuvenation Vibe Room, which is an extension of my therapy practice, where we focus in on more holistic and wellness therapy sessions, such as halo therapy and also vibroacoustic sound therapy. So if you are interested in learning about that, you can absolutely click the link below, which will bring you to the ability to schedule either a halo therapy, which is salt, or the InHarmony Sound Lounge, which is the vibroacoustic sound therapy. So this video is going to be about sex and talking about new ways to talk about sex within your relationship. I think it's important that we have an open discussion with our partners and also ourselves about the reality of what sex and intimacy really means to us individually and also as a couple. I think media really puts a lot of stress on couples to create these fantasies that don't always exist in real life, and that intimacy needs to look a certain way or feel a certain way. But it also builds false expectations for a lot of couples because they respond to certain actions based off of those expectations. So I'll give you an example is like couples thinking that it needs to be, sultry or aggressive or sensual, with the music, because that's what they see in movies, or they read about it in a book, and that intimacy or sex needs to be serious. And that is a huge thing that I talk about openly with my couples, is that sex and intimacy within your relationship should not carry such a significant weight to it. It shouldn't be so heavy where we aren't openly talking about it because we're definitely afraid of being shamed. We need to be able to have conversations about what our interests are, or maybe we want to introduce something new and kinky. Or honestly, what is the best time for, lovemaking? When do you feel your best? And those are honest questions to ask each other, because you're going to get better results when you do engage in your intimacy. And another thing is that we need to debunk what intimacy looks like in real life when you guys do end up having sex, is that it's not going to be sultry and it's not going to be romantic and what you see in the movies and those close contacts with the camera, and you're not going to be glistening with sparkles. It's going to be probably messy. Makeup's going to be smeared, body sweat's gonna be smeared, your bed's gonna be a mess. You may even find yourself being exhausted because, having sex is like going to the gym. So, these are important factors in your intimacy that you need to have a real conversation about to debunk the fantasy of what your intimacy may look like. You even may laugh, midway through your intimacy, and that's totally fine. You want to be able to have fun with your partner. You don't want to have to be worrying so much and be all up in your head about, is she gonna come? Is he gonna come? Let's go, TikTok, motherfucker, hurry up. You don't want to be in your own head. You want to be present and engaged and laughing and smiling and having fun and making those noises if you are enjoying the moment. And honestly, if it doesn't feel good and it's not fun, let your partner know. Be like, hey, we need to move positions. This position doesn't feel very good. Or say, wow, this position really does feel good. Sorry, I have an itch. Let's stay in this position, move a little left or move a little right. Those words of affirmation and validation can go a long way, but it also provides that feedback to your partner of like what's working and maybe what's not working, and maybe we need to move a position, or maybe we need to, go a little harder, a little softer. That feedback is so important, but it also helps to just take all of the stressors of staying in your head and worrying so much about, well, what is he thinking? Or what is she thinking? God forbid, I have a queef, right? Oh my God forbid I have a fart. Or God forbid, I slip out, right? There's so many fears of the natural body's response to having sex, and then also like if you have an orgasm, a lot of people are afraid to make any noises, and I say this is make your noises, tell your partner that you're enjoying it as long as you're being authentic and you're not making it up. If you are a screamer, scream that shit out loud, really show your partner that that's who you are and that is you being an authentic sexual being. And have a conversation with your partner maybe afterwards, to explore if that is something that they even enjoy. Or maybe your partner isn't as, loud as you may want them to be. And that is something that you can ask them about and they can work on it. Or they can say, nope, that's just not my jam. Okay. So just start having more fluid and open conversations with your partner about sex and intimacy and what you think it looks like in your head and maybe what you would like, for it to be. But it really should just be, an exercise, a time where you both can connect on a very intimate level and really just have fun, right? Sex should be fun. It shouldn't be so damn stressful. Where everyone's worrying about so much stuff that's floating around in your head. Because if you can just stay present and just be connected with your partner, you're going to have so much connectivity and intimacy and that orgasmic energy coursing through your system. And it's just going to be much more fun and you're going to be more inclined to want to do it next time. But if that event is super stressful, and you're both in your head and you're not present, you're less inclined to want to do that again. And actually, I would say don't do it again until you have these open conversations with your partner. So if you have any questions, about your own intimacy or ways to talk to your partner about your own kink, or some things that you may be interested in and you're afraid of how to talk to your partner, drop your comments below. I'd love to hear some of your feedback or your questions or your concerns. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you click the little bell at the bottom, or you can send my videos to others that I may be able to help as well. So thank you for watching.